Have you ever hit that moment where you sit in silence, staring at the wall, asking yourself, why do I keep letting them get to me? That raw, quiet frustration, when your heart is tired, your mind is loud, and you just want peace, it's not just you. So many people carry that same invisible weight, stuck in a loop of toxic encounters that keep draining their spirit. You give, they take. You forgive, they repeat. And deep down, you wonder if maybe it's you. If maybe you're the problem for feeling too much, caring too deeply, or hoping too often. But let me be clear, you're not the problem. You're the one who's finally waking up. There comes a breaking point. One that doesn't look like shouting or slamming doors. It looks like stillness, a heavy sigh, a moment where your soul whispers, I can't do this anymore. And that moment, that's where everything changes. That's the first spark of your power. Because in that silence, you're not giving up. You're waking up. You're beginning to realize that peace is not something you beg for. It's something you protect. That your energy is not unlimited, and you don't owe it to people who only show up to take. Maybe you've spent years trying to fix things. Maybe you've twisted yourself into someone smaller, quieter, more agreeable, just to keep the peace. But here's the truth no one says out loud. Peace that costs your dignity is never worth it. You were not born to walk on eggshells. You were not built to live in confusion, second-guessing your own worth every time someone shifts their mood or changes their tone. That's not love. That's control. And control disguised as love is one of the most dangerous things you can tolerate. Now imagine this. Just once, you decide to stop. Not with a fight. Not with anger. Just with a deep breath and a quiet, final decision. I'm done. You don't explain. You don't beg. You just disengage. No more reacting. No more chasing closure. Just silence. That one moment, when you do this, will unlock a kind of freedom you've never felt before. And it will echo. Not just through your life, but through every interaction going forward. Because the moment you show toxic people that their games no longer work on you, they lose access to your world. If you've ever wanted to feel powerful again, to finally take back control of your heart, your peace, and your future, this is it. This is where it begins. One decision, one shift, one moment of clarity that says, I don't need this chaos anymore. Stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll not only understand how to break free, you'll feel what it's like to never be bothered by their toxicity again. You'll become someone they can no longer touch. There's a reason they always come back when you finally stop responding. It's not because they've changed. It's because your silence is louder than anything you've ever said. When you stop reacting, they feel it. The absence of your attention becomes a void they can't fill. Because for so long, they fed off your energy. Your confusion, your hope, your fear. They knew exactly which buttons to push, and they pushed them without hesitation. But the moment you stop playing the game, the board flips. The rules disappear. And now, they're the ones left powerless. Toxic people don't need you to love them. They need you to need them. As long as you keep explaining, justifying, and apologizing for simply existing, they win. But the second you realize you don't owe anyone your peace of mind, you take back something far more powerful than control. You reclaim your identity. You remember who you were before they made you question yourself. And suddenly, their words no longer define you. Their silence no longer punishes you. Their chaos no longer impresses or intimidates you. It just becomes noise. Background static in a life you're no longer willing to live. There is deep power in non-reaction. It doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you've learned to protect what you feel. When someone tries to trigger you and you stay grounded, that's strength. When they twist the truth and you no longer chase correction, that's growth. When they try to bait you into drama and you meet them with calm, that's mastery. You don't win by playing their game better. You win by refusing to play at all. But here's the most important shift. You stop needing to prove your worth to people who never intended to see it. You stop performing for approval. You stop shrinking to keep others comfortable. And in that stillness, in that decision, your entire energy changes. You're no longer leaking value into hands that can't hold it. You're no longer bleeding time and emotion into conversations that go in circles. You've closed the door, not out of hate, but out of love for yourself. This is where healing begins. Not in confrontation, not in one last text or one final closure talk. Healing begins when you choose silence as your boundary. When you say, this version of me no longer exists for that behavior. You don't need revenge. You don't need to be understood. You only need to stand in your truth. And once you do, something beautiful happens. Your spirit starts to rise again. You feel lighter. You breathe deeper. You realize that peace was never something they could give or take. It was always yours. And when they sense that they can no longer reach you, no matter what they say, do, or pretend to feel, that's when they know. They've lost access for good. Because once you choose to stop responding, not out of fear but out of power, toxic people never bother you the same way again. When you stop giving toxic people access to your peace, they lose the fuel that kept them powerful. Because they were never strong on their own. Their strength came from your reaction, from your overthinking, from your tears behind closed doors, from the way you kept questioning if maybe you were asking for too much when all you ever wanted was respect. But the truth is, you weren't asking for too much. You were asking the wrong people. And the moment you recognize that, something inside you hardens, not in bitterness, but in clarity. You begin to see that not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life just because they've been around. Some people only show up to see how far you'll bend before you break. But you're not here to break. You're here to rise. You're here to evolve. And every time you choose stillness over chaos, calm over crisis, dignity over drama, you send a powerful message. Not to them, but to yourself. You say, I am no longer available for what drains me. That's not weakness. That's the beginning of emotional freedom. Because silence is not the absence of strength, it is the sound of self-respect growing louder. There is a version of you that is calm, clear, and untouchable. That version is not waiting for apologies. It's not waiting for someone to see your value. It has already decided, you are enough. You always were, even when they tried to convince you otherwise. Even when you forgot who you were just trying to keep someone close. Letting go isn't about pushing people away. It's about returning to yourself. And when you return fully, something inside you clicks. You begin to value your energy like currency. You stop making emotional investments in people who only give you debt in return. That's how peace becomes your default, not your reward. You are not cold for choosing distance. You are not heartless for choosing silence. You are simply healing. And healing often requires you to unlearn the idea that love means sacrifice. Because the right kind of love never asks you to lose yourself. The right kind of connection never thrives in confusion. Real strength is choosing yourself even when it's uncomfortable, even when you miss them, even when your heart wants to check in. Because deep down, you know this, peace is more important than closure. And boundaries are more powerful than begging for someone to care. You didn't lose them, you found you. And that's a gain so powerful, so life-altering, that once you taste it, you'll never go back. Your silence isn't punishment. It's protection. It's preservation. It's proof that you finally love yourself enough to stop bleeding for people who only bring pain. And once you fully embrace that truth, toxic people stop trying. Not because they respect you, but because they know you're no longer reachable. That's real freedom. And it starts with one brave decision. To no longer be available for what breaks your soul. There comes a moment when you stop flinching at their silence. You stop wondering what you did wrong. You stop overanalyzing every word, every look, every shift in their tone. And instead of shrinking, you begin to expand. That's the moment your healing becomes permanent. Because you no longer seek peace from the same place that stole it from you. You realize that peace was never meant to be found in other people's behavior. It was meant to be claimed within your own decisions. That kind of power cannot be faked. It's not loud, it's not dramatic. It's quiet, solid, unshakable. When someone loses control over you, their reaction reveals everything. They may try to guilt you. They may try to provoke you. They may even pretend to care again. But when you've detached emotionally, none of it lands the same. You don't respond the way you used to, because you've finally stopped needing validation from someone who never valued you. You've stopped allowing people to take pieces of your peace just because they were once important. That's the shift. That's what changes the game. You no longer tie your self-worth to how someone treats you. Instead, you anchor it in how you treat yourself. The people who once triggered you lose their power, not because they've changed, but because you did. You stopped reacting. You started protecting. You started building a life so full of clarity, presence, and alignment that there was no longer space for confusion. You don't argue with manipulation. You don't explain yourself to disrespect. You don't beg for love that requires you to disappear. You walk away, not because you're angry, but because you finally remember who you are. Growth looks like peace in situations that used to destroy you. It looks like staying centered when chaos knocks. It looks like choosing solitude over toxicity. And that choice doesn't come from ego. It comes from knowing your value so deeply that you refuse to hand it to people who can't carry it. You don't need to defend your boundaries. You just need to live them. You don't have to prove your healing. You just have to walk in it. You are not difficult for demanding clarity. You are not mean for protecting your energy. You are not wrong for stepping away from people who confuse love with control. You are wise. You are grounded. And you are finally choosing to live on your terms. That's not selfish. That's self-respect. And when you move with that level of self-respect, toxic people stop trying to disturb your peace. Because they know they can't reach you anymore. You've leveled up in silence. You've grown through pain. You've transformed by releasing what never deserved a seat in your life to begin with. And now, you are no longer defined by who left, who lied, or who failed to love you right. You are defined by what you chose instead. You chose peace. You chose freedom. You chose you. And that choice will protect you forever. The moment you decide to protect your peace, your life begins to realign. Things that once felt heavy lose their grip. People who thrived off your confusion suddenly feel distant, not because they disappeared, but because you stopped giving them space in your mind. The more you choose clarity over chaos, the more your soul begins to breathe. You no longer live in a state of reaction. You start to operate from intention. That's where the real shift happens, not in how others treat you, but in how you refuse to be moved by it. You take back your emotional power not through confrontation, but through stillness, and that stillness becomes your armor. It's not about building walls. It's about drawing lines, boundaries that no longer allow you to shrink for the comfort of others. Boundaries that say, I love myself enough to not engage with energy that drains me. That level of self-awareness isn't loud, it's quiet confidence. It's a calm no instead of an anxious yes. It's walking away from the conversation before it becomes a war. It's refusing to prove your worth to people who only see your value when it's convenient. That's what emotional evolution looks like. You stop needing to be understood by those who are committed to misunderstanding you. When you live in alignment with your peace, it changes what you tolerate. You stop settling for relationships that cost you your joy. You stop making excuses for people who only show up to take. You stop second-guessing yourself every time someone disapproves of your choices. Because now, you understand something critical. Not everyone deserves access to the healed version of you. Some only knew the version that didn't know better. But you do now. And with that awareness comes responsibility to yourself, to protect your time, your energy, your growth. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. Every time you choose to walk away from toxic energy, you reinforce your own value. You teach your mind that your peace matters. You show your nervous system that safety can be your default state, not survival. And that, over time, becomes your new standard. No more fighting for crumbs. No more explaining your boundaries. No more tolerating disrespect in the name of loyalty. Loyalty to others means nothing if it comes at the cost of loyalty to yourself. You were not born to be someone's emotional punching bag. You were born to rise, to thrive, to protect your light from those who only show up to dim it. The freedom you're building is quiet but powerful. It's the kind of freedom that doesn't need approval. The kind that doesn't seek revenge. The kind that simply detaches and keeps growing. Because once you experience peace that comes from within, you stop chasing it in places that never knew how to give it. You become the protector of your own soul. And no toxic person can touch that version of you, not anymore. That's the victory. That's the transformation. And it's only just beginning. When you no longer chase acceptance, you begin to attract respect. Not because others suddenly change, but because your energy becomes untouchable. You walk with a new kind of calm, one that no longer pleads, proves, or performs. You stop bending to fit into places you've outgrown. You stop lowering your standards to keep the peace. You start honoring your truth, even if it shakes the ground beneath your feet. That's when your life begins to align, not around noise or approval, but around authenticity. And authenticity will never need permission to exist. It stands tall, even in silence. It holds power without ever raising its voice. The most powerful version of you isn't the one who fights to be heard. It's the one who chooses peace when chaos demands a reaction. It's the version that sees through manipulation without flinching, that reads between the lines without having to respond, that trusts inner knowing more than outside validation. Toxic people rely on your need to be liked. They thrive off your need to explain, to fix, to keep harmony at the cost of your own well-being. But when you let go of that need, when you finally say, "I don't owe you my peace," their grip breaks. Not because you fought harder, but because you stopped participating. You are not here to convince anyone of your worth. You are not here to shrink so others can feel tall. You are here to live in truth, even if it means walking alone for a while. Because the loneliness of self-respect will always feel lighter than the weight of constant compromise. You learn that solitude isn't punishment, it's space to heal, to reconnect, to remember who you were before the world told you to be small. And when you step fully into that space, you don't just heal, you rise. Your energy teaches people how to treat you. And when your energy says, "I am enough as I am," you stop attracting those who see you as a project to fix or a tool to use. You attract those who respect your boundaries, not resent them. You attract conversations that build you, not break you. You create a life where you no longer need to recover from people. And that life starts with one decision: to stop letting broken people dictate your worth. You don't have to be angry to be done. You don't need closure to move forward. You just need clarity. The clarity that says, "This is not love." The clarity that says, "I deserve peace," even if it means letting go. That clarity becomes your compass. And when you follow it, your world begins to change. You breathe deeper. You smile easier. You move with purpose, not pressure. And every step forward becomes a reminder that you never needed toxic people to become whole. You only needed the courage to walk away. That courage is in you now. Let it lead. Let it protect. Let it rewrite your life. Peace is not the absence of people. It's the absence of permission you once gave to those who didn't value your presence. It's the quiet power of finally choosing yourself without apology. When you cut the ties that keep pulling you into chaos, something remarkable happens. You no longer react, you respond. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer beg, you decide. That shift may seem small, but it holds a force that toxic people cannot touch. Because they can't survive where clarity lives. They can't thrive in the light of someone who sees through their mask and no longer plays their game. You begin to understand that you were never the problem. Your empathy was weaponized. Your kindness was manipulated. Your silence was mistaken for weakness. But now, you're awake. You no longer hand out access to people who only come close to feed off your doubt. You recognize that not every emotion deserves your attention. Not every argument needs your voice. Not every invitation requires your presence. Your energy is sacred. And from this moment on, it belongs to you first. Not to those who distort your reality to protect their own insecurities. What once kept you attached, guilt, fear, obligation, begins to dissolve. You no longer need to hold on to people just because you've known them for years. You no longer carry the weight of proving your worth to those who refuse to see it. You learn that walking away isn't quitting. It's healing. It's choosing growth over comfort. It's standing in your worth, even if it means standing alone. That's the moment you become powerful, because you are no longer controlled by the noise outside of you. You are grounded in something deeper, self-respect. It becomes easier to say no without explaining, to step back without guilt, to breathe without asking for permission. You don't owe anyone your exhaustion. You don't need to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. You are not a fixer. You are not an emotional landfill. You are not responsible for saving people who are committed to staying broken. The only person you are here to save is yourself. And that starts with refusing to let your kindness be your cage. Real transformation doesn't shout, it whispers. It happens when you choose silence instead of engaging. When you choose boundaries instead of bending. When you choose peace over pleasing. And once you taste that kind of freedom, you never want to go back. You stop just surviving and start living. You stop fearing disapproval and start trusting your gut. You stop explaining your boundaries and start enforcing them. And the more you do, the more you realize your healing doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. It just needs to be real. So keep choosing yourself even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Because the moment you make peace your priority, the toxic noise fades into silence. And in that silence, you hear the truth. You were always enough. Now you finally believe it. Once you accept that peace is your birthright, not something you earn by pleasing others, you stop apologizing for your boundaries. You stop second-guessing your needs. You stop watering yourself down just to be digestible to people who were never meant to sit at your table. You rise, not with aggression, but with alignment. You begin to hold space for yourself in a way you never have before. You protect your energy like it's oxygen, because it is. And without that protection, you suffocate slowly, living a life that feels like survival rather than wholeness. Your presence is no longer a place where others come to dump their chaos. It becomes a space where peace is non-negotiable. Not because you've become cold or unkind, but because you've learned what costs too much. And anything that costs your mental health, your sleep, your joy, anything that makes you doubt your worth, is too expensive to keep. You don't need drama disguised as connection. You don't need validation wrapped in manipulation. You need truth. You need peace. And you are finally choosing both, no matter who doesn't understand. When you stop explaining your boundaries, you start enforcing them with quiet confidence. No need to convince, no need to debate, just clarity. This is where I end and you begin. That line is no longer blurry. You've drawn it with the ink of every lesson learned, every night spent questioning your sanity, every moment you betrayed yourself just to keep someone else comfortable. You don't do that anymore. You don't break yourself to keep relationships standing. If they can't hold the weight of your truth, they were never stable to begin with. You begin to see people for who they are, not for who you hope they could be. You stop falling in love with potential and start honoring patterns. You stop excusing toxic behavior just because someone had a rough past. You understand that empathy without boundaries becomes self-abandonment, and you are done abandoning yourself. You don't need another warning sign. You don't need to wait until it breaks you. You've seen enough. You've felt enough. And now you've decided that enough is enough. This is where your power lives, in the quiet decisions, in the calm exits, in the silent refusal to keep participating in your own pain. You are no longer emotionally available to dysfunction. You are emotionally invested in your growth, in your healing, in your peace. And that's why the toxic voices get quieter. That's why the guilt starts to fade. Because you are no longer feeding what drains you. You're building what restores you. Your energy has shifted. Your standards have risen. And now you move through life with intention. Not everyone will meet you there. That's okay. Let them go. You are not losing them. You are finding you. And the you that's emerging is powerful, whole, and finally free. Stay with that version. Choose that peace. Every single time. Peace isn't just the absence of noise, it's the presence of power. The kind of power that doesn't shout, doesn't beg, doesn't chase. It just stands. Silent, grounded, unshakable. That kind of peace is magnetic. When you step into it, you no longer react from wounds. You respond from wisdom. You don't let triggers control your voice. You don't get pulled into emotional wars that leave you exhausted and empty. You've learned that some arguments are traps, not invitations. And walking away isn't weakness. It's clarity. When your mind is quiet, your choices become louder, and now you're choosing from alignment, not fear. You're no longer emotionally addicted to chaos. You're not mistaking intensity for intimacy. You've stopped romanticizing the roller coaster of dysfunction. Because real connection doesn't make you anxious, it makes you feel safe. It doesn't keep you guessing. It gives you peace. And that peace, you're no longer willing to negotiate it. Not for love, not for loyalty, not for the illusion of belonging. Because you've felt what it's like to betray yourself just to keep the peace outside. And you've realized the real damage happens when you silence your own voice, just so others can feel comfortable in your presence. Now, your presence is a reflection of your self-respect. And not everyone is ready for that. Some people will be offended by your boundaries. They'll label you as distant, selfish, or cold. Let them. People who benefit from your lack of boundaries will always see them as attacks. But you're not here to explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You're here to honor the version of yourself that kept shrinking just to fit into places that never saw your full worth. That version is tired. That version has carried enough. So you rise. Not with rage, but with resolve. You protect your energy not because you're afraid, but because you finally understand its value. You stop showing up where your voice is silenced. You stop over-explaining to people who've already decided what they want to believe. You let your silence speak where words have failed. Because peace is not found in proving your worth. It's found in knowing it. And when you truly know it, you don't argue with people who question it. You move on. You level up. You realign. This is what freedom feels like. No longer trapped in other people's expectations. No longer addicted to approval. No longer chasing closure from people who lack the emotional maturity to give it. You give that closure to yourself. You stop reopening doors you already closed. You stop making excuses for patterns that hurt. You don't wait to be rescued. You rescue yourself with grace, with strength, with unwavering commitment to your own peace. You are no longer trying to fix what you didn't break. You are no longer staying where you're not seen. You finally realize that walking away isn't giving up. It's reclaiming your power. And once you taste that kind of freedom, you never settle for less again. You're no longer clinging to what drains you. You're no longer holding on to people, places, or situations that take more than they give. The truth is simple yet profound. When you let go of toxic connections, you make space for something greater. For the first time, you realize that you don't need to chase validation anymore. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone. The world will no longer define you by your past or by your mistakes. You are who you decide to be in this moment, and that moment is all you have. Every second is a chance to step into a life of your own making. It's not about pushing others away. It's about pulling yourself closer to the life you were meant to live. The people who are meant to stay will stay. The ones who are meant to go will go. And you won't have to beg anyone to see your worth. You will no longer shrink yourself to fit into spaces that make you feel small. You will rise and stand tall, unapologetically owning your truth. The right people will recognize that. And they will stand with you, not because they need you, but because they see you. They see the person you've become, and they want to be a part of that journey. The hardest part is often realizing that you are enough, just as you are. You don't need to overcompensate for the absence of validation from others. You don't need to chase approval to feel whole. The moment you stop looking outside for the love, respect, and acknowledgement you deserve, you will start to realize that it has been within you all along. It was never lost. It just needed to be rediscovered. You are your own validation now. You don't wait for someone else to tell you that you matter. You know it. You feel it in your bones, in the way you carry yourself, in the way you honor your own boundaries. When you finally understand that you don't need toxic people in your life to feel complete, you break free. You stop waiting for people to change, hoping they will love you the way you deserve to be loved. Instead, you become the love you need. You stop sacrificing your peace for the sake of others. You start choosing yourself first, every single time. And the power that comes with that choice is unshakable. You become a force. You stop wasting time explaining your decisions to people who will never understand. You stop justifying your growth to people who are too comfortable in their own stagnation to see your evolution. This shift doesn't happen overnight, but with every step you take towards self-love, you get stronger. The toxic people who once consumed your energy no longer hold any power over you. The more you invest in yourself, the more you will attract those who match your frequency. No longer will you give your energy to those who want to see you fail. You will only surround yourself with those who believe in your potential, those who see you for who you are, not who you once were. And once you realize the depth of your own worth, you will understand that no one can ever take that from you. You will stand firm in your truth. You will walk through life unshaken. And most importantly, you will protect your peace at all costs. You are standing at the edge of something monumental. You can feel it in your gut, the weight of the transformation happening inside you. Every choice you've made to protect your peace, to stop allowing others to define your worth, has led you to this very moment. It's a moment where you no longer question your own power. You don't need to prove anything to anyone, and that is the most freeing thing you will ever experience. You will no longer shrink to make others feel comfortable. You will no longer dim your light just to fit in. There is a force within you, undeniable and unbreakable. It's the strength that comes when you stop seeking external validation and start drawing from the infinite well of your own self-worth. It's a power that doesn't ask for permission or approval. It simply exists. You are finally embracing the truth that your value is not determined by those who fail to recognize it. You are not defined by their opinions, their judgments, or their toxic behavior. You are defined by your actions, your mindset, and your unwavering commitment to your own growth. Each day you get stronger. You make decisions from a place of power, not fear. And with every decision you are creating the life you deserve. A life where toxic people no longer have the ability to disrupt your peace. You will no longer allow them to manipulate your emotions, control your narrative, or drain your energy. When you begin to stand in your power, you shift the dynamics of every relationship in your life. The people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries, your growth, and your need for space. They will celebrate your evolution, not resent it. This transformation is not about cutting people off for the sake of it. It's about removing the toxic, energy-draining influences so you can give your full attention to those who elevate you, who lift you up, and who genuinely support your journey. You are learning that your time, your energy, and your love are precious commodities, and you are no longer willing to waste them on people who don't deserve them. You are not here to be anyone's emotional punching bag, nor are you here to justify your worth to those who will never see it. It's time to release the grip that toxic people have had on you. It's time to stop waiting for them to change, for them to see the error of their ways, for them to finally treat you with respect. The truth is, you may never get the closure you're looking for, but that's okay. You don't need closure from those who never valued you in the first place. What you need is to start valuing yourself. What you need is to protect your heart, your energy, and your peace, regardless of who is standing in front of you. You are learning how to prioritize yourself. You are learning to let go of the illusion that you need anyone's approval to be happy, successful, or fulfilled. You are worthy of everything you desire, not because anyone says so, but because you believe it. You are stepping into the fullness of who you are meant to be. No one, not even the most toxic person in your life, can ever take that from you. Your peace is yours to protect, and you are more than capable of doing so. You are unstoppable. You are no longer the person who seeks validation in the shadows of others. You are the light. You don't need anyone's permission to be powerful, to be unstoppable. You are the architect of your own destiny, and every choice you make from this moment forward will reflect that undeniable truth. You have learned that your peace is sacred, and you will no longer allow anyone to disrupt it. You understand now that those who seek to undermine you or manipulate your emotions are only mirrors reflecting their own insecurity and fear. They don't have the power to shape your future unless you give it to them. You've begun to see through their facade. You see the toxic patterns, the control, and manipulation. And now, you are ready to break free. You don't need anyone to validate your strength, your worth, or your journey. You are no longer playing the game on their terms. No longer will you bend to accommodate others at the expense of your own well-being. The only validation you seek is your own. You know who you are, what you stand for, and what you are capable of achieving. When you stop letting toxic people interfere with your inner peace, you begin to reconnect with your true power. You take back control of your life. You are unstoppable because you believe in yourself, and that belief is a force no one can break. The moment you stop looking to others for affirmation, the weight of their opinions and actions starts to lose its grip on you. It's not that you don't care about others, but you no longer give them the power to determine how you feel about yourself. You recognize the importance of boundaries, and you set them not out of anger or resentment, but from a place of self-respect and self-love. Your inner peace becomes your fortress, and when you learn to guard that peace, you discover a freedom that you've never experienced before. You realize that the chaos around you no longer has the power to disturb your calm. Toxic people may try to trigger you, to manipulate you, but they can no longer affect you the way they once did. You know that their drama is not your responsibility to fix. Their issues are not yours to carry. And so, you let go. You let go of their negativity, their judgment, their desire to control. With each day, you grow stronger. The strength you once sought outside of yourself is now fully within. You are confident in your choices, in your direction, and in the value you bring to this world. You no longer allow anyone to make you feel small because you know that you are a force of nature, worthy of respect, love, and peace. It's time to stop asking for permission to be who you are. It's time to stop waiting for others to approve of your journey. You are not here to fit into anyone else's box. You are here to break free from the constraints of others' expectations. You are here to live your life fully, unapologetically, and on your own terms. Nothing and no one can take that away from you. You are not weak because you've been hurt. You are powerful because you've overcome. The trials you've faced, the pain you've endured, they've shaped you into someone who is unshakable. You are no longer afraid to stand alone because you have realized that true strength comes from within. You no longer rely on external validation or the approval of others to fuel your confidence. You have discovered the most powerful secret. The validation you seek was always inside you. There is nothing to prove to anyone anymore. The world may try to tell you who you are, but you know the truth. You know the depths of your potential, your courage, your resilience. You don't need to seek external recognition because your worth is undeniable. You are not defined by the opinions of others or the expectations they place upon you. You have redefined yourself, and in doing so, you have freed yourself from the shackles of their judgments. You are building a life that is an authentic reflection of your values, your dreams, and your unyielding desire for growth. The toxic people who once tried to dictate your choices have no power over you anymore. The fear they instilled in you no longer holds you back. You are taking back control of your life. Each decision you make is now a declaration of your self-worth. You will no longer waste energy on people who bring you down or manipulate you. The energy you once spent on appeasing others is now focused on your own growth. Every day, you are becoming more of the person you were always meant to be. The distractions no longer matter. You have become laser-focused on your path, on your purpose, and on the life you are creating. The negative energy that once threatened to consume you is no longer a part of your world. You are surrounded by a sense of peace that nothing and no one can disturb. You have learned how to protect your peace, and in doing so, you have created a space where you can thrive. You have become unstoppable, because you no longer allow the noise of the world to drown out your inner voice. The truth is, your power is not in what you do for others, but in how you honor yourself. You have stopped giving your energy to people who do not deserve it. You've stopped allowing them to siphon away your joy, your peace, and your vitality. The strength you have cultivated is not based on the approval of others, but on your ability to stand firm in your own truth. You are now the creator of your own story, no longer a passenger in someone else's narrative. You are in control. And as you continue to move forward, you will rise even higher. You have learned the most important lesson of all. Your peace is non-negotiable, and you will no longer allow anyone or anything to disrupt it. You have found the courage to be yourself, unapologetically, fearlessly, and powerfully. This is only the beginning. You are not defined by your struggles, you are defined by how you rise from them. Every setback, every challenge, every obstacle that has come your way was not meant to break you. It was meant to strengthen you. It was meant to shape you into someone who can withstand anything that life throws at you. You are a force to be reckoned with. You are proof that even in the face of adversity, there is nothing that can keep you down for long. You rise, every time. You have learned that pain does not last forever, and that the storm always passes. You know now that growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in the moments when you are pushed to your limits. You are a survivor, but more than that, you are a warrior. And with every battle you face, you become even stronger. Each wound becomes a badge of honor, a testament to your resilience. You have faced fear and come out on the other side unscathed. The uncertainty that once held you back is now a challenge you eagerly embrace. You no longer run from discomfort or try to avoid difficulty. You understand that it is in those moments, when everything feels like it's falling apart, that true transformation happens. You face the unknown with courage because you now realize that on the other side of fear lies the life you've always dreamed of. You are no longer a victim of your circumstances. You have taken full responsibility for your life. You understand that your power lies in how you respond to the world around you. No longer will you be tossed around by the opinions of others or the unpredictability of life. You are grounded, centered in your own strength, and no one can shake that foundation. You have realized that you are the creator of your own destiny. The people who once doubted you, who tried to hold you back, they no longer have any hold over you. You are free. The opinions and criticisms of others are no longer your burden to carry. You know that your journey is yours alone to walk. And as you continue to move forward, you will only become more unstoppable. You are building a future that reflects who you truly are, not who others want you to be. Your dreams are no longer just wishes, they are goals in motion. Every action you take brings you closer to the life you are destined to live. The strength you have cultivated within yourself has become your greatest asset. You no longer need anyone's approval, because you know that your worth is inherent and immeasurable. You are stepping into your power, fully and unapologetically. The fear that once held you back now fuels your fire. You are unstoppable because you've learned the secret. True freedom comes from within. You hold the key to your own success. Every day you choose to step into your power, and every day you get closer to the person you were always meant to be. This is your time. This is your moment. You are worthy of everything you've ever dreamed of, and you are more than capable of achieving it. You are standing at the threshold of greatness, ready to break through any barrier that dares to stand in your way. The limits you once believed existed no longer hold any power over you. You have stepped into a space where fear can't control you, where doubt has no place, and where only your true potential can thrive. The world is waiting for you to show up as the force you were born to be, and you are ready to answer that call. There is no turning back now because you have realized that everything you've been through has led you to this moment, this very moment where your destiny is unfolding. The strength that resides within you is unmatched, and you now know that your power is infinite. It is not a power that comes from others. It is the power that has always been inside you. The doubts you had, the insecurities you carried, the fears you struggled with, they are all fading away. You no longer recognize the person you once were because that person has evolved, has transformed, and has become the unshakable individual you are today. Every challenge that once seemed insurmountable now feels like a stepping stone, each one bringing you closer to the version of yourself that you've always known you were capable of becoming. You are no longer a spectator in your life, you are the one in charge. You are the one who decides how high you can soar. No one can tell you your limits because you are the one who sets them. You don't ask for permission to be great, you simply claim it, knowing that it is your birthright. There is a quiet confidence in you now, one that is not loud or boastful, but steady and undeniable. It is a confidence rooted in the knowledge that you are unstoppable. You are no longer seeking validation from anyone else, because you have finally understood that the only opinion that truly matters is your own. You are not looking for approval, you are only looking for the next opportunity to grow, to push yourself, to challenge the limits you once accepted. The only competition you see now is the version of yourself you were yesterday, and you are determined to outdo that person every single day. You've learned that success is not a destination, but a continuous journey of evolution. It is not about waiting for the perfect moment. It is about creating that moment yourself. You don't wait for the world to change, you change the world around you with every decision you make, with every action you take. You are no longer sitting on the sidelines waiting for life to hand you something. You are creating the life you want, and you are making it happen now. The doubt, the uncertainty, the fear, they no longer have any power over you. They are mere whispers in the distance, unable to touch the fire burning inside you. You are stronger, bolder, and more determined than ever before. You have everything you need within you to achieve the greatness that you've always dreamed of. And now, you are no longer afraid to chase it. You are no longer afraid to step into the unknown, because you know that it is in the unknown that your greatest power resides. This is the beginning of something extraordinary. This is your time to shine. You are standing on the edge of a new horizon, and everything you need to move forward is already inside you. The world has tried to define you, to box you in, to make you conform to a version of yourself that isn't truly yours. But now you see it clearly. You are not bound by the limitations others have tried to impose on you. You are free, and this freedom is what will propel you into the future you've always dreamed of. The past no longer has a hold on you. Every mistake, every setback, every moment of doubt has only served to sharpen you. You have learned, you have grown, and now you are ready to leave it all behind. The person you were is no longer enough to contain the power within you. You are becoming someone who doesn't wait for permission, who doesn't ask for validation. You are someone who takes the reins of life and molds it into exactly what you want it to be. This is the turning point, the moment you stop playing small. No longer will you allow fear to dictate your decisions. No longer will you give power to the negativity that has tried to cloud your vision. The time has come to fully embrace who you are meant to be. And who you are meant to be is unstoppable, unshakable, and destined for greatness. You are no longer negotiating with your potential. You are unleashing it with every breath you take. Your energy is aligned with your purpose, and with that alignment comes an unyielding momentum. The obstacles that once seemed daunting are now nothing more than opportunities to prove to yourself just how far you can go. Every challenge is a stepping stone. Every failure a lesson that only makes you stronger. You no longer see obstacles as something to fear. You see them as invitations to expand, to push past your limits, and to show the world what you're capable of. The truth is, you've always had everything you needed within you. The strength, the resilience, the courage, it's all been there, waiting for the moment you would decide to step into it fully. This moment is now. This is when you stop holding back. This is when you stop making excuses and start making moves. The future you desire is already in motion, because you have chosen to move with it. Every thought you have, every action you take, is aligning with the future you are creating. And that future is one where you stand tall, fearless, and unwavering in your commitment to becoming the best version of yourself. No more waiting, no more doubting. The world will never be the same once you step into your power. The world will look at you and see someone who has decided to rise, who has decided to show up, and who has decided to do the work. You are not here to blend in. You are here to stand out. You are here to make an impact. Every step you take, every action you choose, brings you closer to the version of yourself you were always meant to be. The only thing that can stop you now is your own willingness to step back into old patterns, to settle for less than what you deserve. But that is no longer an option. You have broken free. Now, the only direction is forward, and nothing can stop you from reaching the heights you were born to reach. You have a choice right now, whether to continue living in the shadows of what could have been or to step boldly into the light of what will be. The choice has always been yours, and in this moment, you are realizing the truth. You were never meant to play small. The world may have tried to define you, but you are the one who holds the pen to your story. No one else can write your destiny. No one else can dictate your worth. You are the author of your own life, and it's time you take control. The power is within you, waiting to be unleashed. You have been tested, stretched, and pulled in every direction, but each challenge has only been preparing you for this exact moment. Now, it's time to trust yourself like never before. To believe in your ability to rise higher than ever before. The struggles you faced haven't been in vain. They have shaped you into someone unrecognizable to the world, but someone fully capable of achieving everything you've ever wanted. Do not let the fear of failure hold you back any longer. The fear that once paralyzed you is now the fuel that will ignite your drive. You were made to rise, made to break through every barrier that's ever stood in your way. The limits you once thought were insurmountable are now stepping stones to your greatness. You have the strength to push past anything that tries to keep you down. The voices that doubt you, they fade into the background when you realize how loud your inner voice can be. It is time to silence the doubts and listen only to the power of your potential. You were born for this. The dreams that seem too big for others are just the right size for you. And it's not about waiting for the perfect moment, because the moment is now. It's not about having everything figured out. It's about stepping forward, one courageous step at a time. The path will reveal itself as you move forward with unwavering faith in your ability to succeed. Each decision you make, each action you take, brings you closer to the person you know you are meant to become. Every moment you hesitate is a moment wasted. You are capable of more than you've ever allowed yourself to believe. And now is the time to prove it to yourself. Take a deep breath and let go of everything that's holding you back. Release the fear, release the doubt, and embrace the power that is within you. You are more than enough. You are everything you need to become the person you have always dreamed of being. It's time to stop waiting for permission, to stop doubting your worth. The world is waiting for you to show up, to take your place in it. The success, the peace, the joy you seek, it's all within your reach. The only thing that stands between you and your dream life is the courage to claim it. Today is the day you stop making excuses and start taking action.